we're live without hands.
This is so weird. Look at it.
You do
It really
look like
looks
just a person, like your
a
hands are
torso.
completely gone. I don't
Yeah,
know if
I'm
I could
just
do that. Hold
stretching.
on.
No, you
I'm
gotta
not
have a
that
different camera
flexible.
angle.
I
No,
don't
just have
think
a
I'm.
different camera angle.
What if I go lower?
I can do that.
All right.
Oh, good. I can still do coding with my hands. They're still attached.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Nick.
How are
Oh,
you?
I gotta figure out where to look in this. I'm doing all right. Thanks.
That's good.
It's going towards the end of this year,
Mhm.
right? As far as I know. I was just talking with Sadie that how there's a lot of people being really happy that 2020 is over.
Mhm.
I'm like, but I'm also, what do you say? I'm privileged. I didn't have such a bad year.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think my year was like. I mean, I think everybody's year could have been better. I wouldn't say that 2020 was a good year.
Right.
I think so I've seen a couple of people on Twitter say that 2020 was a good year for them, and it was like
Yeah. Some people are pushing back.
they finished their master's degrees, they got dream jobs, like, good for them. But I think I'm gonna I don't know, from my interactions with people, most people were like, well, 2020 was just like a long gap between, like, it was very like kind of neutral for them, like for the people who weren't like as affected as much.
Right.
Like, it wasn't
People
good.
working online
it wasn't like
already.
bad either. Yeah, it was just kind of like this annoying thing. And then I have friends who are like frontline workers who, I mean, obviously for them, it's just been like a nightmare this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just been crazy.
Totally.
Summer was a little bit easier, but now things are spiking up again. And I think it's I don't want to say like more or less under control in New York, but I think we learned from our early mistakes that we need to take this a little bit more seriously. And now, you go outside, and I think I've said this on a previous stream too, like out of 100 people, maybe one person's not wearing a mask, at least in my neighborhood in Brooklyn. So
yeah, that's really nice. I think.
Yeah, I think so, because it just shows, like, you have, because the whole mask thing, right, is like not for yourself, it's for other people.
Totally, yeah.
So I dig it. I don't mind it.
Yeah, Austria has been, I don't know. So
You've been all over the place this year. I've been like stuck in New York, and I went to Tennessee for a little bit, but you've been more.
Well, I haven't been in a lot of places either. I've been in Austria when it started, like in January last year, so a year ago, and then in Odessa in Ukraine for most of the rest. Like, and we barely went anywhere. We just lived in 3 different apartments around the city, but that's it. Like, I think we got out of the city once.
In Odessa.
Even in Odessa, yeah. Otherwise, we just stayed there. So this was when COVID started, so it was the first March lockdown, and then we just stayed inside the apartment, like everyone. And then when it loosened up during summer, I was just walking around the city, but we didn't really go anywhere. And then November, I guess, we're back in Austria. So it's really just 2 places, pretty much.
Yeah, I don't know why. It always feels like you're in like 18 places a year every time we speak. Right? Like before the stream, you were showing photos from 2017 when you were here in New York. And even then, like, I don't know. I feel like I keep getting our years mixed up from when you were here, or we were together in like San Francisco, or when we went to Paris together, and like I feel like we've been all over. Then there was a point where you were also like in Bali and in Thailand, and you were just living the life.
Right. Yeah, well, I don't know. I have mixed emotions about this whole travel and work thing, but it's definitely got some nice points to it too.
I think it was so much nicer when I was younger too, because I also did like 3 months in Southeast Asia.
Old man Nick.
Well, I think we're all getting old, right?
My birthday is soon after New Year's.
Yes.
So yesterday I kept thinking about being 40, which is not what I'm going to be at this birthday. I'm just going to turn 34. But for some reason, I just kept thinking about being 40 because it feels like it's such a close age now or something. I don't know.
And okay. 40.
Yeah, I'm older than you.
You are older than me.
Chill out,
I'm
man.
gonna be 30 in 2021.
See?
Oh man. But yeah,
I'm 4
so
years your senior. I could have finished
4
I could have finished a university degree before you were born.
not if you went my pace. Not if you took my approach.
Which is what, dropping out?
Dropping out after 6 years. Yeah.
I see. 6 years?
6 years. Yeah.
Wait, you studied in university for 6 years?
I wasn't university. I studied in a university for a year, and then I had a scholarship riding on a program that I was in. I didn't like the program, so when I switched, it was since like the end of high school. I mean, I think it's just easy to blame like everybody, other people, but I think at this point, when I was like, senior in high school, since then, like the guidance counselor, and I wasn't the only one with, I think my internet is slow today. I don't know. You're freezing. Are you good?
Was it yours?
You back? You're back. Let me just make sure I'm connected to the right one.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Still here.
Yeah, so my guidance counselor in high school didn't really, like, I found out towards the end that he didn't send out any of my college applications. So, and it was like already towards the deadline, and I had like 8 or 9 that I was sending out.
Is that something that?
So this is
that
like
something that they're supposed to do?
It was, to this day, I don't know. Like they were, so he had a packet, like a folder of all of my applications. And he was supposed to send, or like multiple packets, right, with all of my high school transcript, my like extracurricular, all my like volunteer work, and then the actual college application. And then they were supposed to send it out. This is what I guess was like a service provided by the high school.
Okay.
So I was like, okay. So I did that, and then towards the end, he was like, yeah, you never paid to send these out. And I was like, what do you mean? I never paid to send these out.
That kind of service.
Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, you never told me I had to pay for this stuff to send it out. And then at that point, it was like too late to send some of this stuff out. So I applied to one school. I got into that school, and I got a really good scholarship for a program. And I did a semester of that program, did pretty well. I then transferred out to a different program, which I was more interested in. Mm-hmm. And when I was making that change, I guess I didn't go like the correct path through that. So nobody at the school, like there was no red flags or anything that said like, you shouldn't be doing this. They just kind of let me change my major. And because I had changed my major, I lost the scholarship. So the scholarship was riding on the major.
Was specific.
Yeah.
It was specific for that.
Yeah, yeah. And then I transferred out of that school, went to a different school, tried to get more credits back in the original major, and then ended up just like switching majors a bunch of times. That school was much cheaper, it was more affordable. And I got a lot of credits in different programs, but they weren't in like, I never wanted to take like the basic, English 101 or history 101 or anything, like all your prerequisites that you have to take for just to even get like a liberal arts degree. I was always taking like the second year, like I was doing nutrition for a little while. So I took some nutrition courses, and I took some hotel and hospitality courses, and I was taking, eventually landed on some computer courses, like computer science courses and math. But by the end of it, I didn't have any of the prereqs that I needed to get even like an associate's degree, so like a 2 years degree. But that didn't really matter, because like towards the end of it, and this was like 6 years, it was like on and off, me going for a bit, me not interested in school anymore, doing other stuff, and then towards the end, I applied to a university that was really good in software engineering, and got in, and there was like a whole thing there. This was actually the time that I was traveling too. I got in, but I didn't get there. Like, there was a whole thing, because I had my apartment picked out, I had my schedule picked out, I had all this stuff already like set for me there, but I had failed a course in my other school. It was like
so
calculus.
was a prerequisite.
Yeah, it was a well, it wasn't a prerequisite. The counselor at this new school said, you know what, the school that you're at now, the courses are probably, to be honest, easier, but they're going to count the same. So if you want to just get more courses out of the way, load up your schedule, do the best you can, and come here with whatever you have. I was like, okay. So I loaded up my schedule. This was like really dumb, with 12 credits in a single summer semester, which was 1 month. So I was taking 3 courses, 4 credits a course, from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Thursday. And it was like physics 2, calc 2, discrete math, I think, were the 3 courses. And I didn't pass calculus 2, but I thought I passed it, and the teacher told me I passed it. So it was like a week after school ended. I thought I did well. I thought I got a C. And or just, actually they told me I got a B, and which I was surprised. I wasn't expecting that high of a grade.
I was just like, wanted to say you consider a C.
No. C's
that you did well.
C is just like I needed to get passed through to, it was just a lot of schooling in a short amount of time. And I don't recommend it to anyone, because I was also working at the time too. Like, I was doing the Udacity stuff. I was trying to work. I was bartending on the weekends. So my time was just like taken up. And yeah, I definitely don't recommend it. While I was on a plane to Thailand, I got an email from my math professor, and he's like, actually, I switched your grade with the other Nick in the class. You failed. So I'm like, well, if I was back in New York, I could have taken this course in the second summer semester and still gone to university. But now I have to like call the university, see if they'll take me. And they're like, you know what? Stay where you are in the fall, come back to us in the spring. And I'm like, this is just too much. So after that, I kind of just threw the towel in. I'm like, you know what? I could learn so much more online, through like Udacity and like other programs, kind of like the Fast AI stuff that we're doing now. Because that's like, those are the skills that you need for a job anyway. And I was kind of benchmarking my progress with someone who I was in track to go to that university with. So I was kind of like, okay, well, we're both at the same level right now. Like, they're going to university and I'm not. Can I
comparing, how's it gonna go? Yeah,
like an internal competition of like, well, if I can get a job before they leave, then I kind of prove my point to myself, and like I can say at least I made somewhat of an intelligent decision, right? Because at some point I think like this, especially for software engineering, that I've seen is like, you don't, after your first job or 2 jobs, they don't ask about where you go to school, where you've been anymore. They ask about like your previous work experience, what you've done at the company. So yeah, no, it totally worked out, because I did get a job. I think like 2 years out instead of 5 years out. And yeah, I think it worked out. I wouldn't recommend it to anyone though. Like, talk to your guidance counselor, everybody. Talk to people who know what they're doing.
Maybe the guidance counselors are doing some sort of, a pre-selection for people who know they have to do these applications by themselves, and the people who don't, who just rely on them to do it, they're like, you shouldn't be going to college anyways.
I don't know. Maybe. That would be quite unfortunate.
Did you end up with any sorts of, American Horror Story? You got a lot of student debt or something like that?
No. So that's actually the great thing is like, obviously engineering pays pretty well. And I only had a few $1,000s in student debt from the original university. And then while I switched the more affordable one, I was working like either, I don't know, between like 1 and 3 jobs at a time. And I was able to pay for university for that school while I was there. So I didn't take out any loans there. Nice. But I mean, it was also like significantly more affordable. It wasn't like, NYU $70,000 a year or anything. Like, it wasn't anywhere near that. But with the little debt that I had going into, an engineering position, I was also living at home at the time. Like, I was able to clear out that debt very quickly. So thankfully, no horror stories there. No.
That's nice.
No, was it like $500,000 or $250,000 in debt for student loans for... No, nothing like that.
Yeah, it's such a depressing thought if you come from a, country like Austria where it's been like when I started, it was completely free to study. And then it's been, I think they introduced some fees because they're moving towards some American models, I guess. But they're still like very low. I think it's a 300 euros per semester or 350. So that's really nice. That bad.
That's nice.
We did go and protest
for those 300 euros.
Of course, because it's also like, about the direction that things are going. It's like you want to provide education for free, and then they start introducing some fees, even if it's not very high fees, but it's like, what kind of like signal are you sending or what? No,
I totally agree with that. Yeah, 100%.
Anyways. University stories. So.
University stories. Years and years ago. Back when we were young.
Yeah. So 30. Oh, well.
Soon. I've got some time. August. I've got 8 months.
August. Yeah, see. So you're halfway. You're one of those halfway people. Are you using like this New Year switch to reflect upon your life, and then you have your birthday and you reflect upon your life again or something?
No, I think I'm using this New Year's as just like, I keep hearing from pretty intelligent people. Like, I was listening to a podcast with Bill Gates the other day, and he was talking about how, this is going to go until this. I mean, we're going to have a very similar 2021 to 2020. Even though we have the vaccine and everything.
That's one of these feelings I have about people being so happy that it's over. It's like nothing's really gonna change in this, in the short term at least.
Yeah, and even from like the beginning, when I was listening to like Dr. Fauci from like in March or February or whatever of this year, he was saying, well, it's gonna take like 18 months, right, to develop a vaccine. So I was like, all right, well, if we're in, let's say January, early this year, 18 months is like next June. So this June coming up, which is pretty.
So they were faster than that.
I mean, they were faster, but also like considering the logistics and distribution and keeping it cool and doing like, I think some of them are, do they have like the 2-phase vaccine? I'm not like super on top of
Whether they have it? What do you mean?
Well, like if they're using this, like, I think it was like a multi-phase vaccine, like you get 2 doses.
I believe so,
right? Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
So like the logistics of like keeping track on who's taken it, where they've been traveling, getting the second dose in time to them, keeping it certain temperature, like these are all very, difficult logistical problems. And I think a lot of people are saying like, oh, okay, well, we have a new president. We have, we're back to how things were, right? Like, let's just, like, it's normal now. It's like, no, well, no, nothing's normal. We're getting there, but this is still going to be the same, more or less the same year as 2020. So that's what I'm kind of like mentally preparing myself for, but also like just thinking about, how can you, what you're doing day to day and also with your work, take 2020 as a lesson and actually make 2021 your year, right? Like I also, like I was telling you with this guy who like did his master's degree and now he's like working his dream job, right? As like a story that I read on Twitter yesterday. That's awesome. Like I feel like people should look at this in the best way that they can, and this adversity is for everyone. The virus and loss of work and all that. So like you gotta just, I don't know, long story short, take advantage of it however you can,
Yeah.
And it's so much harder said than done, right?
Right. And depending also on who you are and what your financial and et cetera situation is.
Sure.
Like,
well, and I'm saying this not only for individuals, but for like corporations and businesses too, right? Like you should look at this and be like, well, all right, what has worked in our industry for other people that we're not doing, right? And then what has worked for us that maybe that we could share to other people, right? Like maybe we thought of something that's better, that can help the industry grow, right? So I also think that this is an opportunity for like software to grow like crazy and fill a lot of these niches that weren't there before the pandemic, right? With remote work, just doing things remotely. So I still see an opportunity to make something nice and for people, and also changing your practices. Like I think part of like one of the silver linings in all of this is like people aren't traveling as much for work, right? You don't have people, so like the emissions from airlines are a lot less, right? And I think people are. I was talking to a colleague the other day, and I asked him, I was like, so I haven't really spoken to him for a year, and I asked him how's work, and he's like, yeah, it's just a bunch of meetings. I'm like, well, it's kind of nice, that you just jump on Zoom and you don't waste time anymore, right? Like walking to the different meeting rooms, it's just email address, get on Zoom. He's like, yeah, but I kind of also miss walking to the different meeting rooms. I was like, yeah, but you could just walk from the kitchen to the office to the bedroom to the bathroom to like the living room, where I go wherever you want. And he's like, yeah, it's kind of what I'm doing now, but it's still very different.
I have a friend who told me that he's spending time on meetings, going on bike rides, and he's like plugged into the meetings, and then if he's supposed to say something, then he just like switches
I love
on,
that.
or like stops for a moment on the side of the road and
that's awesome,
gives his input and then just continues biking.
Yeah, that's great. This is the thing too, like I think you have to get really good at listening and your own mute control, right? So like if you know that a meeting is about, if it's
you gotta
just
know whether you're muted or not.
Well, right. But if so that's one thing, right? Like if you're muted or not, but also like unmuting and then muting yourself again at the right time so that people still think you're paying attention.
Well, in the best case, you are paying attention.
Well, if you're bike
but
riding,
I see what you're saying.
if you're bike riding there, I'm gonna just go out on the limb and say there's a few more distractions, immediate distractions, right? But yeah, this is like something that I do. Sometimes I'll go on Zoom on my phone if I'm on a meeting, and then I just have my phone in my pocket or something, and then I just mute back, and then I'm just playing with the dogs or something.
Yeah, I don't. So all the meetings I have are pretty, like one-to-one, pretty much. So
Right.
I'm just there when I'm on the meeting. It's
Right.
like the time I'm talking to someone, we're figuring something out, and that's it.
So meetings
I
with
don't really do
you,
anything else.
obviously, I have video on. You know,
Well, yeah,
I'm
I
proving
can
to
see
you
that you're not.
that, or this is all pre-recorded, and
Oh,
I'm out diving somewhere, right? I'm just
that makes
good
sense.
at-
That's why you're never really responding to the things that I'm asking you. You just like keep giving this canned responses of yeah, I'm gonna do it eventually.
right, something like that.
Diving, huh? Oh, that's nice. So, 2021, what's your plans? You're gonna go do you have any sorts of ideas in terms of diving?
So diving wise, yeah, I have this book.
All right, let's take some notes. I started a notes document.
Oh, do you want to share this?
Sure, it's a very interesting notes document. I'm sure anyone who's listened this far is interested in seeing that. Let me see if I can do that. Share, look at it. And then I can take notes about also your diving down here. You're already on your Zoom call somewhere else, huh? Are you?
No, I saw my grandparents called me 3 times.
Oh.
But I don't.
You want to call back?
Yeah, let me just. They're probably gonna be like, "Did you get a COVID test yesterday?" Give me a sec.
Yeah, sure.
You can. Yeah. You want to talk about notes?
Sure, I can do that in the meantime. So we start.
I have great
We
mute
just-
control, so I can just jump
Oh
back
yeah,
in.
just do it. Bam, 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 bam. Okay. All right, I'm gonna explain what happened here on this notes. So I started off a little document because I thought we might also discuss something else than just Nick's university today, which I think we're gonna go for. But anyways, so I have some. We just started talking about where we take notes, and I guess I was asking Nick what's his app, and he said he's using Bear, which I don't know. And then I admitted that my note taking generally looks like this, that I just have a bunch of text edit documents with like very not very well formatted text, and then you see like a couple of different untitled files that go up pretty high in numbers, and then every like once in a month I go through the open documents and then save them somewhere where they make more sense or delete something. So it's a kind of messy note taking, but it works out. So that's me. And Nick's using Bear, which I don't know, but we could take a look, figure out what it is. Look at this tiny Bear Mac Note app. So I learned also something about that. I haven't looked that up yet. Private Markdown Notes. Is that it? Bear app, that's probably it. Let's see. I've seen this symbol, Nick. I've seen it when you do something. Okay, what does it look like? Yeah, I see. So some markdown support, some notes, extra app, probably smart. All right, so these are our 2 ways of taking notes. And oh yeah, and also we also both mentioned that we used to use the stickies at some point. So I opened up mine to look what's there, and what I mostly have is like a bunch of little green notes from when I was. It's a really long time ago when I started learning to use PyCharm, and someone gave this like tips that you should just use some sticky notes and put them on your computer anywhere where you have like these shortcuts that are interesting or helpful, to just so that you learn them and learn like one at a time. Maybe have one in the middle and then move it apart away when you learned it. And I made this whole sticky notes about some sort of whoops. And yeah, some really old notes that are not very interesting. Well, yes, I haven't been using that for a long time. But yeah, I guess if you want, you can take a New Year time as a moment where you can go over such certain notes and try to figure out what of it is actually relevant, and then clean out a little, which I was kind of planning to do today, but time passes quickly. Yeah. So what do you 2021. Nick's still talking, huh? No, wow. Perfect timing. Welcome back.
Perfect timing. It's almost like I heard you in one ear
Finishing up.
while I was trying to, yeah.
All good with your grandparents?
Yeah, they just want to know. So I 2 days ago, I was, it's so weird, right? Like, I was exposed to someone who was exposed to be positive.
Mm.
It's like third or second contact. And it's weird because, like, you know it. But, like, and the way that and I got tested yesterday and everything, so I'm waiting for the results. But it always feels like the interaction I had with that person didn't feel very, like, threatening at all. Like, for transmission.
Mm-hmm. Otherwise, yes.
But like, I feel like going to the grocery store, you're like on top of each other. Even like now, everybody's wearing masks, but like to reach over past somebody to get carrots or apples or, you know, something, and like I feel like you're way more at risk. It seems to me that you're more at risk there than I was on Monday. But whatever. They're yeah, my grandparents were asking me like how I'm feeling, if I'm feeling okay, what happened with the doctor, and then if I'm gonna go over there to pick up a so for New Year's, there's you make this it's not really a pie, I don't know like how to say it, it's just like in Greek, I don't know if anyone's ever had like spanakopita, but it's that kind of like pita, right? So yeah. For New Year's, you make vasilopita, which there's so like my grandma makes it the same way, like with spanakopita, and like half of it is with spinach and cheese and the other one is just with cheese, and then she puts a quarter wrapped in aluminum foil and then bakes it into the pita, and then after on New Year's or like a couple days after, whatever, you cut the pita and you give a piece to different members of like the family or friends, and then whoever gets the quarter gets good luck for the year. Is the
That's
idea.
nice.
I got the quarter last year.
Ooh.
So I guess
Congratulations.
I had a pretty good 2020, I would say. I got 2 dogs that are driving me crazy. So
Wait, you got Rex also? Also after.
I got Regs at the end of January. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, I got
Starting
Regs.
the year off with a dog and ending it with another one.
Yep. But that's it. I'm done. Dogs. No more
Enough
dogs.
dogs.
Enough dogs. Yeah. So I saw that you had Bear up and you has a few notes.
I looked at it.
Yeah.
Well, I just looked at it because I hadn't seen it.
Yeah, I think you have to pay like $10 a year or something like that for it, just to keep everything in sync. But it's like it uses Markdown. And
Just a second.
Yeah. Do 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 do.
Hey, Happy New Year, Nick.
Happy New Year, Sadie. Can you hear me? I don't know if we're on headphones.
Nice, can you?
Sorry to interrupt your guys' stream. Just saying hi.
Hey, Happy New Year.
I don't have to
Thanks.
wait. Hi.
What are you guys
Congrats
doing?
again.
Thank
we're
you.
just
I
chatting.
appreciate it.
I'm excited.
Here's my ring.
It's
One ring to rule them all.
very cool. I'm excited for the for the wedding on the mountaintop or something.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Something bizarre. I'm excited.
Weddings on mountaintop. It's bizarre.
Well, I don't
If
know.
you
Like, you
planned it-
gotta like go hike, and it's like a 3-day hike through the mud and everything, and then you get there, and it's like a small little village. And I mean, maybe I'm just.
I kind of doubt that that's what
We
it's
could
gonna
get
be.
like
It sounds more like what you're gonna do.
We could get like a porcupine preacher or something.
Dress him up in a
That's
little
really
tuxedo.
Aww.
That would be
Some
so
animal
cute.
abuse.
Or, yeah.
Maybe we'll sacrifice him afterwards.
Oh, wow.
Sorry.
That escalated quickly. Put him in
No,
it. Put
poor
him.
porcupine.
Put him in a tuxedo. Oh wow, that's animal abuse. But if we're at it, let's just sacrifice him afterwards.
No, it is really cute to think of a porcupine in a tuxedo with the little quills coming out.
Right? Like a little bow tie.
Aw. Aw.
reading vows off in Austrian or in
Aw.
German.
It's very like Wind in the Willows.
There you go. That's very cute. I'm excited.
Yeah. We'll take a video for you.
Oh, Zoom. You should Zoom the whole thing, and then we can all attend. Oh man.
Yeah. Well, Happy New Year. Have a good rest of your stream.
Thank you. Happy New Year. So yeah, I'm
Guess-
expecting an invitation to the wedding, especially if you have a
Right.
porcupine. I don't know if it's gonna be a very religious wedding or not, but just somebody to read the vows and
Is that? Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think are the vows a religious thing?
I don't think so. I think you have to.
Wait.
Isn't it like an ordained minister or something? Somebody who's like there's still a church part to it. I think like there's two parts from what I've experienced. Also, like with Greek church, Greek weddings are always like in a church, but like I don't know. Anyway, whatever.
You have these very scenic churches, at least when you're actually in Greece. You know, like every little mountaintop has like a tiny church up top or something.
Yeah, it's very pretty.
So you get like scenic stuff and the church at the same time, which is pretty nice, I'd say.
We were talking about going to Greece, maybe, if things kind of follow the same path as this past year, where like it starts dying down in the spring, early summer, where it's maybe a little bit safer to travel. Just go to Greece and stay there for a bit.
But like stay for longer? Or?
Stay for longer, or like obviously like just monitor how the different countries are doing with keeping it under control. I mean, who knows, maybe the US will do a full 180 and get things under control by then, but I don't know, we'll see. Anyway,
Yeah.
So note taking. What are we taking notes? Just chatting 2020 going into 2021.
I can make a dash in there.
Have you seen talking about I don't know why. Oh, you should do 2020.1.
Point a version. It's the proper versioning.
Oh man. That would be really funny if like or somebody took all of the events this last year and put them to proper versions. So like New Year's was 2020.0.00, and then with every new feature happening,
Like
or
what's-
bug release, if you
Bug
will.
release. COVID. Bug release.
Oh man.
Well, but so in terms of stream, like aside of all lots of personal stuff, what's like stream stuff that we're thinking about maybe doing apart from note taking?
So for stream stuff, I think Nick and Martin burn stuff.
I thought we could like maybe move into that direction at some point.
Okay, all right.
You know, slow motion cameras of like just taking like papers, or we can expand on what type of stuff, but just slow motion videos of stuff burning.
Oh man, it's a
Spin-off.
just dumpsters, just dumpster fire. Yeah, no, as far as streaming, I think obviously I like the theme of like learning stuff. I was thinking to do, after we finish this Fast AI course, which will probably take us to the middle of
2021
March or something at the pace that we're going.
Yeah.
Realistically, because we started it in September, I think, right? We've been doing it since then. So September,
Sounds about
October,
right.
November, December. Yeah, 4 months. Which
Yeah.
is fine. I mean, I'm having a good time. Hopefully you are too. Who knows?
About that.
Yeah. That's why we're burning stuff.
I'm having a good time. I'm learning stuff too. Oh, thanks, Jonovision. Yes. Yeah, I got engaged recently.
I don't know what's happening. I can't see the chat on my side. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, for 2021, I think I want to finish out the let's see, we got some trolling activity. Want to be
Oh, wow,
famous?
that happened fast.
That was very fast. I don't
keep-
want to.
They keep asking us if we want to be famous. It's like kind of stressful to be famous. So
it's
maybe
very
not-
stressful to be famous.
not the best
These are the
idea.
first 2 users that I've banned.
Knecht. Bye bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah, 2021, I want to finish this Fast AI course, and then I want to do something that's not
right.
I want to do something that's
Definitely.
not programming as well.
Oh, okay.
So my brother's a woodworker. This is going to be a little plug for him too. And
So maybe some woodworking.
yeah, he's been wanting to create like a school, like an online course for woodworking, and one of the things that he sells on his website is this like Kumiko kit, where and it's pretty good. Like a lot of people are giving it as like a gift. Yeah, JT Wood. You can just go on his website. Yeah, jtwood.works.
Plug in some Johnny.
There you go. So Kumiko is that pattern in the middle of that table.
This
and
one?
that's his that's his like the
okay.
starter kit right there. That first product. So under featured collection. Right
This one?
there. Yeah. And the Asanoha pattern is that pattern. That's the name of that pattern. So with this kit, you get those 3 jigs that are cut at a specific angle. So that
Sorry, it's like
yeah, click on that third photo. Or
sorry, it was lagging a little. This one?
right, yeah. So you could see everything.
Can you hear me? It's
Mhm.
just lagging a bit. This?
Yeah, so you get, this is pretty cool. So you get the 3 different jigs, and
Sophisticated
then,
and delicate technique of assembling geometric patterns in wood without the
Yeah.
use of nails. It's a decorative art form originating in Japan during the Asuka area among the years 600 to 700 after. I never know how to pronounce this. among the years, it's progressed while being passed down through generations of craftsmen that are passionate about the tradition of Kumiko, like you. 200 different Kumiko patterns in this kit will explore the Asanoha pattern, literally hemp leaf. Asanoha is the most popular pattern, rightfully so. Its visually complexity is intriguing, and in Japan it's connected to ideas of growth and children's health, since hemp is durable and grows quickly. This pattern often appears on children's clothing. Cute.
Mm-hmm.
And then you glue them, or what do you do?
No, you don't have to glue them. You could just leave them like that, or you could put a little bit of glue if you like. But they're all like
you just
interlocking.
stick them.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
they're all like interlocking. So they have the pre-cut, this 6 grid pieces with pre-cut half laps over there.
Uh-huh.
So those
Yeah.
will,
These
go
are like the
into each
middle
other.
ones.
Those are the blue ones, yeah, on that. And then all the other, like the red, the green, and the pink, or the purple, those are the ones that you're
Mhm.
cutting, and then you use the jigs to cut the angles, how they're all meeting each other. And then with like pressure on them,
Mm-hmm.
that's how they stick together. So you can put little bits of glue if you'd like on all the joints, like where all of the connections are, but you don't have to. Like it'll just hold itself for the most part.
And so the kits that he's like making here, they already have the angles cut, or you're cutting the angles
So
yourself?
you're cutting the angles yourself. So you get
Gotcha, okay.
you get this. The jig has those 3.
Oops.
The kit has those 3 jigs that we're like super zoomed in on.
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
This is too complicated for me. All right. So it seems
So-
like when I go over this,
Yeah. Just click on that second photo. So those are the 3 jigs that one's.
you want to see this
22
super detailed here? You like seeing it
that
like this?
nice
This is a knob.
brass knob. Yeah.
It's a brass knob.
And then
And
you
here
have
we can read 225.
22 and a half
Right,
degrees 45 and then 67.
Oh, are these actually different?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. So they have different numbers on there.
Yeah. So you put
Okay,
the
so wait,
strip-
let me try to understand this. All right, you try to make me understand it.
Oh no. I
Go ahead.
will keep quiet. You can.
Go ahead, do it.
I was gonna say you put the strip
Okay,
in
so
there.
I take one of these things. I think we're having a lag here.
I can't tell if you're doing it seriously. Oh, okay. We have a lag. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. You go.
So I don't know how to solve that. But... All right. So I go. I take one of these little things, one of these things. Yeah. One of these wooden strips. I put it in there somewhere. I don't know exactly how. And then I cut it somehow. I don't know exactly how, but I assume I can like fasten it with this little brass screw. And then maybe I can cut there. Oh yeah, these are the angles. I see. Okay, so these are different angles, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess I have a saw or something that I can just then go on this surface and cut it in this angle that I needed.
So the sort of the angle. So this the channel in there. You actually put the strip inside of the channel, and
Right.
then the brass doesn't hold it down; it holds it at a specific length.
Okay.
So you put so that way you can butt up that strip to the end of that piece over there, and then all of the extra on the outside is where you cut the angle, and you use a chisel to just follow the angle down and cut the piece. But yeah, I was thinking of we can ship you one of these to Austria, and then you would just have to get like a saw and a chisel, which I'm sure you can find.
I have.
Yeah. Or you have, and then we can build one of these with Johnny on a stream.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Did you make some? Did you make one already?
I haven't. I have not yet.
Okay, nice. Cool. So we'd be both learning it.
Mm-hmm.
And Johnny can tell us how to do it.
Yep. I think that'd be pretty cool.
All right.
And then I was thinking of.
Is that the right spelling? Kumiko. It
I
is.
believe so. Yeah. So yeah, I was thinking
Such a
of,
lag. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but yeah, I was thinking of doing more things like that, like mixing it between learning different programming frameworks or new programming techniques, or building like cool projects with some more, tangible, using your hands type building.
That sounds nice.
And then like mixing in, maybe we do like some robotics or something like you know what I mean? Like we work on the Arduino platform. Maybe we do some stuff with Raspberry Pis that we've wanted to work on before.
Yeah, I've been wanting to do some stuff with this little electronics for a while, but I haven't really done anything yet. You know what could be fun too, because I know it's also something we both like. Do a bit of, I don't know if that's like a thing about learning stuff, but in a way it is, I guess, like some sort of travel planning, like trips, like longer type hiking trips or swimming trips or biking trips or stuff like that. I just, how there's the sub thing of barefoot hike the Andes.
Yeah.
Which is one of those plans.
So you want to plan a trip?
It could be something that's interesting. I keep thinking that I want to do this more, and I'm getting older.
I agree. I think planning a trip, there's so many things to consider that unless you do it all the time, or you've done it enough, or you learn like what to start, like what you need to think about, especially like any like backpacking or swimming or biking, right? Like these things, it's like there's definitely so much to cover.
Also, I feel like if you're like crossing borders, on a trip, like everything, like you need to have. I mean, it depends where you are, but you need to have permissions. And I don't know. I've just been spending a lot of time trying to figure out some legal things for my fiance staying in Austria, and it's just like there's so much things, people you need to contact, stuff you need to understand, of documents you need to read that are related to stuff like that. That I think you like kind of learn it if you do it, but if you never really do it, you don't really have any sort of relation to it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah,
Could be interesting. And maybe it would also like facilitate us like moving closer to actually doing it, you know.
Yeah, totally.
I also kind of want to do, I don't know if that's for us here, but I kind of want to do I want to do some sort of Python course stream at some point. I don't know if I want to do it here, but something where I'm a bit more familiar with, like where I kind of know already the topic, but just see, because there's a lot that comes up that I don't know about when I teach something always, and it's interesting if there's like a couple of people who want to join in, who want to learn stuff. It could be interesting to just have that sort of exchange.
So
I want to do that at some point, but it doesn't necessarily have to be with you if you're like bored by stuff like that.
Well, I mean, it could just be a different channel too. It seems like that one's more of a teaching rather than learning thing.
Maybe teaching channel. I want to think about that a little. Any robotics topics that you've been wanting to do? I have like a very easy one. That's not even a robotics one. What's that? Server setup. I want to set up a Minecraft server to play with my nephews on a Raspberry Pi.
That's like a nice intro one that we could probably do in like a stream.
Yeah. Something I want to do. Could be on a stream. It doesn't have to be on a stream. I have an old one, but let me take a look actually.
Yeah. I have one. I've got one. The Raspberry Pi 3 Model B.
I think mine is a 3 too. I think same.
Oh, no,
where does it
yours
say
is
that?
A 2. I think yours is a 2 because you have the that yellow port.
Oh, it says 2011.12, whatever that means.
Yeah, mine says 2015.
Oh, okay, yeah.
This one's I guess the newer because this has the HDMI port. But this is from 2015. So there's the new one just came out.
HDMI.
Oh, nice. The new one just came out. That's the 4 that I think has like 4K, uses like USB-C.
Yeah, it's got pretty neat. It's got pretty nice things.
Yeah.
And they also brought out one that has like that's built into a keyboard.
Yeah, what was that, like Raspberry Pi 3000 or something like that?
Raspberry Stack Exchange. No, is that something?
I think it's .org. Yeah.
But they got both.
Nice. 400.
4
and 400. Yeah, the 400 is the keyboard.
It's fun. I don't know really, like, but they've got pretty decent amount of RAM also.
So what is
Compute.
that? Compute module.
More info. Quad-core RAM Cortex A72 processor. Don't know what that means. Yeah, I'm not very good with these specs to understand what that actually means. But you can go up to 8 gigabytes of RAM. That's a lot. I understand as much because my computer has less.
So, yeah, all right. So quad-core 1.5 gigahertz processor. It's an ARM processor. The up to 4K 60 frames decode.
Does that tell you something?
And then H264 decode encode.
So that's the compute model, and then I guess we can compare to.
Yeah, this just has like a bunch of ports on it. So I think what would be interesting is like, I mean, you could create a Minecraft server with the one that you have. I don't think you need much, especially if it's just for your nephews.
It doesn't actually work that great. I have like, I have some things set up on some online, but it needs a decent amount of both compute and RAM to actually work okay without lagging. But yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure this is probably fine. Even though I've read some things online that said that the RAM is fine, 8 gigabytes RAM is pretty good, but that the clock speed of the processor isn't that great for if you have a couple of like people on there or something.
Got it. Yeah, I think the compute module. I don't know
why this one doesn't give you any. Sorry.
I don't know if this is replacing the Raspberry Pi Zero or not, but there was a Raspberry Pi. I think it might be, because the Raspberry Pi Zero didn't have many ports either. And then I saw a board that you can connect all of these different Raspberry Pis together and then create this like multi-processing compute module.
Yeah, you built something like that, right?
I did, and I wrote some code for it, and it was dumb.
It was dumb.
It was so dumb. So
it
dumb.
Sounds fun though.
It was a lot of fun, and I learned, I think, a good amount. And I wrote some, probably looking back at it. I haven't looked back at it, but like looking back at it, I'm sure it's really bad code, but whatever.
I've seen some pictures of a couple of like nicely stacked.
I don't know.
This is not what I'm looking for.
What you're looking for.
Raspberry. Am I spelling this?
P-I.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
P-I. Oh, pi. Oh, wow. I'm so Python influenced. There you go. Wow.
Yeah,
look at this. I even
like
changed it here. No one said anything. It just allowed me to make a fool of myself.
I thought you changed the I to a Y so that it would get rid of the autocorrect squiggles. And I'm like, okay,
I thought it was related.
I could live with that.
Thing. Oh well.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. One of these things that's actually like that's what this is. It's I think what your cursor is on right now is what we bought. It's just these little like things that you can stack the Raspberry Pis on, and we had a bunch of them, and all like.
And this really
together.
like, and then you can just. Interesting.
Yeah, they were.
I don't know how that stuff works, but it would be interesting. Like if I have a second one to just hook them together and see if that can I don't know if you. Can you then just double the processor speed or?
So what we did was we had a separate, not a router. What was it, like a networking bus or something, that we hooked up all of the Raspberry Pis to, and then we had this like main, or like the master slave kind of architecture, where we had one sending instructions to all the other ones. And then they would run the computations or whatever, and then send it back to the master.
How did you search for that?
What do you mean?
I was just wondering whether you can like even do that with a program like Minecraft, that it does like that it spreads it up for different parts of work.
Well, what I had to I wrote the code for what we were doing. So it was like distributed. I don't remember what it was. Yeah, I can't remember. Maybe Apache Spark. Is that a thing?
That's a thing.
I know, but
I don't know.
Does Apache Spark do like cluster stuff?
It's a thing.
I know it's a thing. Unified Engine for Big Data. Distributed general source, cluster computing framework.
Cluster computing framework.
Yeah, so I think I was like looking at how this was sort of working, and then kind kind of built. This was like I think it was about 3 years ago. When I wrote some of the code to do that. But it was very custom to like the solution that we were building.
Yeah.
And it was like not even like light Apache Spark. It was like light Spark. It was very, very it wasn't very impressive. But it was cool to like hit run and then watch this one Raspberry Pi send data to the cluster of, I don't remember, like 10 or 15 that we had, have them do something with it and then send it back. That was really cool.
Yeah, that sounds fun. And like, why not learn some Apache Spark?
Sure, why not?
Sounds interesting. I guess there's not robotics.
So the robotic, I mean, I still want to do robotics with, maybe it could be like an Arduino thing or separate. But I want to build this like smart, I think we spoke about it, I don't know, on a stream or separately before, but this like smart buoy for the ocean and like monitoring currents and water temperature, salinity, turbidity, all these things, and then using a Raspberry Pi, maybe with like they have these like modules for like a cell phone that you can connect it to, or I have like all these like old cell phones that I don't use anymore. If one of these can get like a data plan and the Raspberry Pi connects to this via Bluetooth or something, I don't know, we could like figure all that stuff out. But I would like to do something with old phones because I feel like they're just, for the most part, they sit in like your drawer, or you can send them to somewhere to get like recycled and like other people use them. But I feel like the processing power on a phone is still pretty significant, right? Even if you're not getting like the latest updates or anything like that. What was it, like one of the earliest iPhones was, I don't know if this is accurate, but it was like there was more computing power in one of the iPhones than we got people on the moon with. So if we'll I feel like a lot of the stuff is just overkill.
Yeah, totally. It could be interesting to use it, like to find some useful, some. I'm just gonna stay in a loop of saying some.
Yeah, that would be really cool. What else? This is already like this is like a good.
It's 2 years. At the speed that we're going.
I think we should. So after Fast AI course, can you just put go make another line, and then just put 2022 on that line. I think that's a bit more accurate. There we go.
Perfect.
Oh man.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
So what about for you? What do you want to so this is like stream. Let's say this looks like enough to keep us busy for a while. Realistically, could we do this all in like 6 months? Maybe.
Potentially, sure.
Potentially.
It's good. It's a nice mix of like some new programming stuff here, some electronics stuff here, server setup, I guess, some manual. Maybe we have some other woodworking project and some whatever that is, topic-wise. Who knows?
Yeah. Would be cool to get into like I do want to get into this is like more into like 3D printing or like back into it actually.
I'm not that interested in that.
All right. Well, we could just skip that.
I'm gonna admit it live here on the stream. I know people are really excited about 3D printing, and I guess it's really cool. But for some reason, I'm not that interested in it.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
yeah.
happy if you convince me otherwise, though. So
Well, I could see us potentially making stuff for in the robotics section.
yeah, I think the reason probably is that most, I think I've probably been pretty excited about it when they first talked about this is a thing, 3D printing, you can print
Mhm.
stuff, and then just over the past years, what I've mostly seen that people do with 3D printing is just make like sort of useless little, trinkets
I totally agree.
to put somewhere or something.
100%.
And then I'm like, yeah, I know there's people also like, I don't know, 3D printing a meniscus or something for medicine, but I'm like very far from doing anything like that.
Mhm.
So
Also, I was looking at one of the scuba regulators yesterday, and I was like, well,
Yeah.
what was I watching? It was something on.
I'll put it there. Okay, Nick. I'm gonna put it there.
Well, I forgot what I was watching on Netflix. I think. Man, was it a movie? Oh yeah, it was a movie with George Clooney. Of them like trying to get like they were in space. There were people trying to get back. I forgot what it was called. Midnight something maybe. Anyway, but there was a
Space
line
movie.
in the movie where they were kind of scanning this spaceship's exterior for damage.
Mhm.
It was like, okay, well, this, blah, blah, blah. And then at one point, they were like, oh, the printer will fix that. The printer can make something like that. And I was like,
Mhm.
huh, that's pretty cool. And then it started getting me thinking about doing like an expedition with scuba. Like if we wanted to do like cave exploration or something. So I'm like halfway through this book called Into the Planet by Jill Heinrich, and she's like one of the best cave divers in the world. And towards like the beginning of the book, she was talking about doing like exploration dives and mapping caves that no one's ever been in before. And I thought that was really cool. And part of it is like, well, they need to bring enough gear into the jungle, and they're bringing like a compressor into the jungle so that they can recharge all the tanks. They're bringing enough gear in case something breaks. And I'm thinking like, well, it would be really cool if you could just print something. You bring a 3D printer, or you bring a small little like CNC machine or something, whatever it is. Maybe a metal 3D printer, but we're not. I don't think we're there yet, technology-wise, to like run a metal 3D printer off a couple of solar panels in the middle of a jungle. That would be really cool. But yeah, I heard that line in the movie, immediately thought about that. I paused the movie. I ran into here, and I grabbed one of my scuba regulators and I took it apart. So there's like two sections in the scuba regulator. The first stage, which is on the tank, that takes it from 3,000 psi to about 500, and then there's a second stage, the one that goes in your mouth that you breathe, that takes it from like 500 to ambient pressure, which is about like 120, 112 or whatever psi. That piece, I feel like if something happened to that piece, if it like you're walking through the jungle, you're not careful, it like falls on a rock, and that piece is mostly plastic on the outside. If something breaks, you're kind of like
Can't go diving.
You can't go diving, right? And you can bring as many replacement parts as you want, but I think it would be cool to bring like a printer. I don't know. It was like
How
part
big are
fantasy.
they nowadays?
The printers
Yeah,
or scuba regulators.
the printers. I'm just wondering because the ones that I've seen are still relatively big,
Go to I was looking at MakerBot yesterday.
or like kind of hard. Oh, this is not so big,
No, is
I
that
guess. But then you also have to carry all that like filament, because you gotta use something to print it. I don't think you can
Sure. Yeah,
put-
yeah.
jungle material in there.
No.
Feed it with some.
So there are two printers that I would consider kind of taking, and maybe this is just like very naive research, but the Formlabs one, because that uses resin instead of filament.
So you can tap the trees in the jungle?
No. No, but I think it's just, I don't know if it's more efficient or not, but it
Is this the one you're talking about?
yeah, I've seen some like cool resins that they use. So like you have all those like little cartridges over in there instead of taking the filament, and it's
I see.
this actually may be heavier to bring through the jungle, but you can have these like different materials and then swap them out pretty easily, and have different like densities for the plastic.
Yeah, see this, and then everyone just prints this kind of like crap.
Like cool, right? Like
I
these
mean,
like
sure, it looks fun,
interesting
but whatever.
structures. Yeah. Here, hold on.
Look, I made a couple of monkeys. Congratulations. They're all lying around. Yeah, and then there's medical applications, which I guess is kind of cool. Ooh, this tooth doesn't look good. Or is that normal? I'm confused. I'm making an Eiffel Tower. Wow, that's so great. Humanity's been waiting for a couple of teeth. That's weird.
Yeah,
I actually
teeth-
thought
yeah,
I thought it's a what's it called? Not
roller
Ferris wheel.
coaster.
Yeah, roller coaster.
Yeah. So, Formlabs,
another-
they use, they're, oh, excuse me. I don't know that another printer is, I haven't seen another printer used for this kind of like dental work, because they have like very specific like dental and like medical grade resin, which is kind of cool. I think they're used mostly for like guides or molds to make other stuff.
Monkeys.
Yeah.
To make monkeys. Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of silly, but like, if you scroll up a little bit, so like there's like the buckles, some gears.
This stuff.
No, scroll down. I mean, that's kind of cool too. It's like if like your drill breaks or something and you have to make something else. But
Yeah.
no, scroll down a little bit. It was on the left, I believe. Yeah, right there. So the one all the way on the left, it's like a chain holding a cinder block. So that blue material is their like tough resin material. So you can make, obviously
Chains.
this is very, it's not very ideal for you to make something like this in the middle of the jungle, right? Like, but using this kind of material, you can kind of make stuff. I don't know.
I kind of like the filament more than having cartridges, but I think that's solely a problem of like printer cartridges being so annoying with like normal printers. How you always have
I
to
could
go
see
buy
that.
new ones and they're super expensive, and then
Yeah,
there's all this
yeah.
thing about refilling them, and then it never works, and
Yeah.
the printer breaks, and I don't know what.
Yeah. I think these are just, I don't know that you can refill
No,
these. I
it's-
think you just toss them when you're done with them.
Yeah, but then they're so expensive, right?
Yeah,
And
I
then-
just don't know how. Right, like I don't know what the economics are between this and a regular filament one,
yeah.
and what the properties are between the materials. Because I just saw on MakerBot they have a filament that is, I don't know, like infused with carbon fiber strands or something. They also have a new printer, and it seems like they're
I
targeting.
kind of just want to look at images. It seems like it's a lion.
Yeah.
Sorry. Filament. This is all gray. The other one was all orange.
Yeah.
Carbon fiber. MakerBot.
yeah, so whether or not like you're actually going to use any of this stuff realistically, or if it's just, you know, you're printing something because you have a printer, like on an expedition, right? Like you're doing it for the sake of doing it. I don't know. But it would be cool to, if the print bed was big enough and you made like a new propeller for your underwater scooter, right? Like if that broke or something, if like line got tangled up and now you have to make a new one. I don't know that this print bed is big enough to make one for the ones that carry like people, but
I wonder how heavy these things are.
it was also more like I was watching a movie and then I had this idea and I was like, oh, that would be kind of interesting. Whether or not it's a like realistic one
Sure.
or not, yeah, totally different story.
Just spitballing ideas here.
Yeah.
Weight.
65 pounds.
That's a decent amount of
That's
extra weight.
Yeah. That's like a little bit less than 2 tanks worth.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the other thing is like if you are doing a scuba expedition, you're like bringing a lot of weight with you
already.
Anyways,
yeah.
Not only tanks, but you're just bringing lead dive weights because you
just
need weights.
actual weight.
Yeah,
I see. Yeah.
Just like for me, it takes, depending on the exposure suit that I'm wearing, and the amount of gear that I have on me, anywhere between like, you know, if I'm wearing like nothing, then it maybe like 2 pounds, all the way to like 22 pounds of weight.
But couldn't you just like use rocks or that you find at the scene where you go diving?
So rocks are not. So the good
As
thing
heavy,
about lead is that it has the same. I don't remember what it's called, but it's like the same density or something under, like in the water, than it does on land, like outside of the water. So like, you know, when you have something in the water, a lot of times it feels like it's lighter than it is. So the lead has a very high. It feels heavier or just as heavy in the water. It doesn't feel lighter, so the weight stays the same. And the only thing that's the only other material that's like greater than that, I think, is gold, and gold is obviously just very expensive.
So you just take the gold that you find on the scene.
Yeah, put it in your pockets.
Yeah.
So I've actually gone
I've
diving where I
Yeah.
didn't have enough weight, or if you're not weighted properly in the beginning. So there was I took a course actually almost a year ago where this was the first time I was ever weighted like this, where they were like, okay, you're gonna go weigh yourself, do a weight check. So I had all of my gear on except my tanks, and I did a weight check, and I had to make sure that I can stay down with no tanks, because if I could stay down with no tanks, that means when I do have tanks on, the buoyancy characteristic of the tank changes as you're breathing the tank down. So a tank, for example, like a regular aluminum tank, will be, let's say, 6 pounds heavy, 6 pounds, what's it called? Negatively buoyant at the beginning of a dive. And then at the end of the dive, it could be 2 pounds positively buoyant. So you want to compensate for that. So there have been dives where I didn't weigh myself. I didn't add the proper weights, where at the end of the dive, I started floating back up, which is dangerous because
if you don't want to go up too fast.
If you don't want to go up too fast. So it all depends on the dive as well, like the dive profile. But yeah, it was. I've taken rocks. I've put them in my pockets. I've taken. The best is when you find fishing lures on the floor, the fishing weights on the floor. So I just go and I take the fishing weights, and I've at this point like recognize what they look like sticking out of the water, or where sticking out of the sand rather. So I just go and like poop, 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 poop. One time I took 15 pounds of fishing weights on one dive, because I was like, well, you know what? Why not? I'm finding all of them. I have I have the lift. It's a very shallow dive. Let me just find all of them, and we gave them back to the fishermen afterwards.
So I made a new
There we go.
entry here under this. Because eventually, if we go and
We do
cliff dives,
virtual
I'm gonna
dive
have
courses.
I'm gonna
and
have to
get
know
you
some stuff,
certified.
right?
Get you and the viewer certified virtually.
Yeah, I've never been underwater. But sure, I have the certification.
Well, no, you would have to take a test, and then we have to do the water part of it, but later. When I come for your wedding.
Details.
When
Details.
I come for your wedding. Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, so I don't know if we're kind of over it by now, but anyway, we're over 3D printing. I was gonna show you the insides of a scuba regulator.
Oh, sure. Show me. Wait, I can stop that so that it's bigger.
So this is the part that obviously goes in your mouth, and you have a hose connected from this side to this. This is what gets put on the tank. This is a transmitter, so like I have a wireless pressure gauge on this. I have on my computer connects to this, and but this would be connected to a hose with this, and then this is connected to the tank. So this takes it from 3,000 pounds to 500, around there. And then this takes it from 500 to ambient. But these are so easy to like. The biggest thing that always breaks or something is the mouthpiece, but you could just bring, these are like silicone pieces. You could just change them. They're connected with a zip tie or something. But other
They're
times,
probably lighter to carry 5 of those than to get a 3D printer and some filament
totally
to remake them.
Yeah. The other thing, and these are so easy to take apart. A lot of times you just unscrew the front plate to it. And these are so like simple to like concept wise on how they work. So here, this is like a little diaphragm that moves back and forth. Okay.
I like this. Can you show it closer to the camera?
Yeah.
And make this movement?
Yeah, hold on.
It looks good.
So, okay. So you have, this is the front plate of the regulator.
Yeah.
And this is a button over here that pushes in, and that moves side to side. And there's a spring in there. You can sort of
I like
see
that
it.
too.
Okay. and then this part here pushes up against this piece, which is a diaphragm. So if I push this, you have this whole silicone piece going back and forth, kind of like a speaker. But this provides a waterproof seal around the front of the regulator. So this is attached here and then gets pushed in and out. Okay. And this has the waterproof seal here. And when you breathe in, you're pulling this in.
Show
so
us.
you're yeah, sure.
Nice.
Right. So you're pulling that in. And then what's happening behind this is you have this valve that's pushing against that. And let me take.
And that like makes the oxygen flow, right? The valve.
Yeah. So I'm gonna take this apart completely. So we're gonna undo this screw here. Take this out. That's just like a retaining thing. And then you can push this whole thing out. So here you have that piece was moving this back and forth.
It's the membrane is moving this.
And then in here you have, this is the regulator. This is what changes the pressure from that 500 to about 100. And then in here you have this little screw that you can adjust as well, right? But in here is this is the actual like what regulates the pressure. in this
And so
piece.
the idea is that it regulates the pressure that's inside of the bottle, like how the thing you're breathing is compressed, and it regulates it to a different.
No, this is
compression
just
so
an
that you can-
on-off. I mean, it's you can feather this and have it's not just on and off, but you can feather this a little bit to allow a little bit of air to come out. But when it's fully open, it goes from that, the 500 pounds of pressure that's coming out of this one to 100 pounds, which is what's breathing, what you're breathing.
How's it doing that?
So just inside, I could take this apart too, but that's a bit more annoying
You can
to
just
take back to
Theoretically.
but just with different size holes. So if you have a very small hole and you're not allowing a lot of air to pass through, now you have, right, like if you have 500 pounds on one side and a very tiny hole for that pressure to pass through, you're not going to have 500 pounds on the other side right away, right? That pressure is going to change because you have it open on the other side now. So it's going through this tiny little hole and then open to everything. So that's by regulating the size of that hole, you're regulating the size of the amount of pressure on either side. Now, if you had two tanks kind of hooked up to each other, right, and you had the tank and you turn and one was empty and one was on, obviously if you turn on both of them, you're going to get the same pressure at the end on both tanks. Right? But up until that middle part, up until they stop feeding into each other, one of the tanks is always going to have more than the other.
Okay.
Right? So it's kind of the same concept here. But yeah, these regulators are super simple, except for this part. This part would be more challenging, but I don't think this part breaks as much as all these other little plastic pieces. This piece actually is kind of interesting, so I'm going to put this back.
But this happens often that one of those like gives out or what?
So the one thing that actually breaks more is this piece here. So this is the exhaust valve, the exhaust port. So here you also have this like little membrane or diaphragm down here that doesn't take much for you to exhale and blow out, right? So like when you exhale, your exhalation goes through here and then gets exhausted out from the side. So this regulator is a pretty old one, and this piece is not removable. The newer ones that I have, this piece is removable, where you can have wider ones or skinnier ones depending on the type of diving that you're doing. These skinnier ones, obviously when you're breathing, the bubbles can go straight up to the side, like off to the side, and if you and then obviously if you get wider ones, you're just letting the bubbles leave further away from your face, so it's not
in your way.
In your way, right? If you're doing like photography, for example, you may want different size exhaust ports so that the bubbles aren't in front of the camera, for example, right? So those typically break, but yeah, it's the same argument that you had before, is like it's easier to carry 5 of those than one printer, right? Totally agree. That's why I was like thinking it's more of like a just a movie type idea, or maybe you're there for multiple years, right, where you need to just be making things, and it makes more sense because, okay, let's say you have 5 of these and 5 of these and 5 of these and 5 of all these other things. Eventually those 5 will add up, right? And then if you have 12 people each having 5 of everything over the year, maybe that's 65 pounds and you've justified the cost. So I don't know. But one cool thing about these regulators is they have this little valve on the side that you can turn. Let me just put this thing back together. You can turn on and you can turn sort of like on and off, called a Venturi valve. Have you heard of this? So let's see. Let's put this back on.
I know.
goes
I
this
just
way.
know in terms of diving. I just know about the technology involved in free diving,
Okay.
which is the mask and the snorkel.
And some fins maybe, and a
And some
weight belt
fins.
maybe.
Maybe.
So, what's cool about this is, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it on camera as much, but this valve here,
Mhm.
there's this little like. See if I can get a light in there.
It's okay. It's actually somewhat visible. I mean, I
So
guess you
this-
see.
That valve on top, that little flap.
Okay. Yeah.
Um,
The black one.
The black one, right? That helps kind of channel the air into your mouth, so it's easier to breathe, right? It's got this like little scoop, and it's saying, okay, I want to kind of make the air not be this like almost like a vortex kind of coming out of the regulator, and I'm gonna just kind of guide it into the mouthpiece, right?
Okay.
So it's easier, right? And then you have this thing on the side, this little lever on the side, and then in here, when you're moving it, you're moving this plastic piece,
Mm-hmm.
right? So right now it's in the off position, and now it's in the on position. So in the off position, it's the same kind of concept that this is kind of guiding which way the air is going. So right now in the off position, you see the hole on top. Oh, that's the on. So there's a hole on top of this metal piece where my fingernail is.
I was like trying to look into it.
You can sort of see it where the
In the
spring is.
green, in the yellow green thing, or with the thing you showed me before.
On the metal piece. So
Oh.
let me
Okay, I kind of see it. Just look. It's not just chatting. It's
there's-
just looking at
yeah,
dive
yeah.
equipment.
So right here on this part, I could take the whole thing apart again, but on this piece, there's a hole over
Yeah,
here where
okay.
the air escapes. Okay. And when you have it in this off position, this plastic piece, you can sort of see that little cutout channel there, is the
Mhm.
air is hitting this plastic piece
Mhm.
and not going directly up. Right? It's saying, okay, I want to channel this, kind of bring it back towards this way, and then not have it go directly up. Now, if you put it in the on position like this, you get more air. You get direct air coming up into this little
Mhm.
flap,
Okay.
and then it goes into your mouth. So what's super interesting is that this little thing actually makes breathing so much easier. So moving this side to side, you are making so for example, if when you have it in the on position and the air is directly going into this flap, right,
Mhm.
this little valve, that's creating negative pressure inside of the regulator. So when you breathe in, it actually helps
pushes
push it easy, much easier.
Interesting.
So when you're which is like super interesting, because like when it's open, it's very easy to breathe in. So it's like, and you get all the air that you need, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it actually forces some extra air out, and it takes some getting used to it. And in the closed position, you're kind of like, it feels more like you're breathing through a straw,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's called the Venturi valve. It's actually, I think it's super interesting. And some regulators, this one for example, is not rated for cold water. So when it opens, for example, like when this opens up, sometimes it'll actually freeze in the open position. So
Mm-hmm.
the regulator will just start free flowing all the way out, because it's just too cold. It can't bounce back up like that. Like either this will stay closed or rather open. So yeah, super interesting. But the Venturi valve, I think, is one of like the coolest things, to think that just by channeling air in a different way towards this like very basic simple flap will create enough pressure, or will create right like enough negative pressure inside of this little chamber to help push this whole thing forward and keep it open and help you breathe more. It's so cool.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I just I don't know, I just thought of another idea is like some of these regulators, like this company Apex makes probably one of the best regulators, and it usually comes with like a higher price tag too, but you know that you're gonna get you get like free parts for life with this company, and all the technical divers trust them. But if you had this like 3D printer and you have a little bit of engineering and diving knowledge, you could build one of these with you could build some of that, like the Venturi valve, if your old regulator didn't have it, right? Like you can now make a regulator housing to fit all of your old parts, take the actual regulator part and just fit it into a new thing, and now you have a brand new upgraded regulator system. Could be interesting. I don't know, just throwing out ideas, just chatting. But yeah, anyway, yeah, we could do a
Venturi
dive
valve.
dive equipment. Nick teaches dive equipment.
Is that how you spell it?
It looks like it's not,
Seems,
autocorrecting.
yeah. Seems like it's fine.
You could look it up too. They're used in, more than just diving, obviously.
To a Venturi valve. Venturi effect. Reduction in fluid pressure that results when the fluid flows in a constricted section or choke of a pipe. It's named after its discovery, Battista Venturi. Well, that sounds more like the first thing you were talking about. That sounds like the pressure difference, right? Like you have a high pressure here and then you have a lower pressure here because it needs to get through this point.
I think that's just with any sort of like...
In fluid dynamics, an incompressible fluid's velocity must increase as it passes through a constriction in a corridor.
I think this is
continuity.
Maybe this is for fluid specifically.
Idealized flow in a Venturi tube. Choked flow. Okay, but that's the effect, not the valve.
Yeah, look up Venturi. Yeah, let's see if that's it.
Ventura. No. Did I mean that?
Look up like Venturi scuba. Maybe it'll create a diagram. No. That guy's really good though.
That guy?
Yeah, you could click on that. That's a good video to watch. We could watch it.
We're not going to hear it.
Oh.
I'm going to hear it. Yeah, no, let's not do that right now.
Anyway.
But that's not it, huh? Oh, I said not.
Anyway.
There was a lot of sound coming. Good or bad?
Yeah,
Hello.
He's fun to watch.
I'm not gonna watch
He's
him now,
always
I'm
happy
sorry.
and smiling.
Just on camera.
Just on camera, right?
Again, I just want to look at images. But this seems not to be a different thing, huh? Like it's not giving me this sideways those things. Well, anyways, I liked your explanation.
Thank you.
This looked like something. This looks like it, yeah.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Assisted breathing. Show me some
I want
diagrams.
some pictures. Yeah.
I just want to look at pictures. Mask Attachment mouthpiece.
No,
What?
no.
This was promising us some pictures. That's interesting. Why is it not on here? Give me the pictures.
No.
Okay, don't give me the pictures.
Yeah, just click on that one. There you go.
Oh, that's a mouth.
Yeah.
I thought it was part of the device or whatever. Flexible diaphragm. Lever. Valve. Brr, brr, brr. Okay, anyways, I've seen enough of this. I liked your explanation. This is too much.
Too
This
much. Anyway,
confusing.
moving
This
on.
mouth here. Whatever. I like this page design. It's pleasant. Little stars up here.
Yeah, this looks
Safety.
good. Looks like they're into liveabout.com.
Liveabout.com. Never heard of it.
Me neither.
Okay, I put the Venturi valve on here. We can put a check mark. We've learned everything there is to learn about it. Right?
Look at that.
We're nearly done, halfway through our plan for 2021.
I know. Oh man. So what do you have?
What?
What do you have planned for the new year? For New Year's? Anything for tonight?
For
Tomorrow?
for tonight, for in a couple of hours.
That's right.
not
It's
much.
almost 2021 for you.
Yeah, not so long left.
Wow.
Not much. There's this thing about that Austrian TV always traditionally puts on a blue Danube waltz, I believe, like right after the new year started. Like we like to start our years off with waltzing.
That's nice.
So maybe we're gonna do that.
Do you waltz? I'm sure you do.
I mean, it's like skiing, you know.
Oh,
That's
is
what
it?
you grow up. That's what you grow up doing.
What are other things you grew up doing in Austria?
I think that's it.
Just waltzing and skiing?
Maybe also eating sausage and
Do you
drinking
ski?
beer. I
Sort
know
of,
how
right?
to ski. No, I mostly snowboard when I do winter sports.
I was gonna say I remember when we went to Vermont, you were snowboarding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think I tried skiing.
Did
that
you?
time. It was either that time or obviously another time. But
Did you like it?
It was weird. I want to try the small skis, like the ski blades, the short
Mhm.
ones. Long skis, it just felt like there was way too much happening in front of me and way too much happening behind me.
Oh, did you hear that there's like a lot of, because going on ski tours is something that I think is pretty nice and fun. But did you hear about this, that there's a lot of people doing this now because a lot of the ski resorts are closed because of COVID.
Oh, really?
So a lot more people are doing ski tours that have absolutely no experience doing it. So there's
Like
a lot more
cross-country?
accidents. Cross country, yeah. You know, hiking up the mountains and then
Mm-hmm.
getting into an avalanche.
Oh, wow. We were thinking about doing that in
Yeah,
Vermont.
a lot lot of people were thinking about doing
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But most people don't actually have like the knowledge of
Right.
doing it.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot more accidents. I've heard.
Weren't we talking about doing a trip through Colorado like that? Didn't we have like there's a path in Colorado that has like different ski huts that you can stop along the way.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. And there's like a very it's like a well-traveled route, I would say.
I think there's a lot to learn. Like I actually did a ski tour course at some point but it's like 10 years ago or something.
Yeah, I feel like we were gonna do this, and we were
So maybe I was talking
talking
that.
about doing like an avalanche training course together.
Yeah, I think there's a lot you'd have to learn before
Yeah.
actually going or something like that.
But no, I'm saying like, I think when you were here,
I don't remember.
we were talking about this, and then we were talking about doing that avalanche, or it was I don't think it was.
I
Like
remember
an
this
avalanche
one.
training course. It was a something cross country climbing. Yeah,
That's one that I remember. A plan.
yeah.
It's good plans.
That would
good,
be fun.
Good trip plans.
We should still do that
Right.
one. That one I'm
Yeah.
definitely gonna do with Elisa. So you need to
I gotta join there.
you need to jump on that one.
Yeah. All right, cool. So I don't need to organize anything. I just
Maybe
join.
maybe we'll organize it here on the stream as one of these travel planning, hiking, swimming, biking.
Nice.
So what's a biking one? I mean, at this point, you should put snowboarding or skiing on there too, so we have everything. Snowing.
What do you want to call it?
Whatever, that's fine. I don't care.
Yeah.
Sure. What do you want to do biking? You prefer road biking, right? Over like mountain biking?
I do.
Yeah.
I find mountain biking kind of scary.
Yeah. I think
I mean, not if it's not downhill. Then
Right.
I'm totally fine with it.
The
But
really
downhill is
extreme
scary.
mountain biking. Yeah.
Crazy
That's
people.
nuts. Yeah, I would love to do a biking trip. Where have you
I did-
gone? All right, you've done like Austria to
I did
something?
Graz, Odessa at
Graz,
some point,
Odessa.
which is around like 2,000 kilometers. 2,000. And then I did earlier from pretty much Graz, I guess, not quite, to Rome, which is
Oh, wow.
a little less, I think, but maybe 1,500, something like that.
Can you pull a map for Graz to Odessa and Graz to Rome?
Sure.
Because that seems really far. Like, how long did it take you to go from Graz to Odessa?
Graz Odessa was around 3 weeks
3 weeks. Okay,
of biking.
3 weeks.
We weren't like going crazy or anything.
Yeah, but you must have been biking for like 6 or 7 hours a day.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
It's a nice cross section of Europe. It's not giving you any.
It's all in. It's
Oh,
all
it's
in.
not-
It's in.
I can put it with the car. I guess it's gonna give us some. No, that's not. We went.
I mean, you can move the map around. You can move that line around.
Yeah. I was just thinking. So we went down south and then through Romania. So we went Hungary. We actually went a little through. Must have been something like that, and then. You're being slow here. Cluj. I think we went across Cluj. Yash, yeah, something like that. That sounds about right.
Okay.
This says 1,600 kilometers. I think it was pretty much exactly 2,000. So maybe we moved
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
somewhere
whatever.
differently. I think we went through. Maybe we went through Serbia here or something.
Okay.
I don't know exactly. Something like that.
Yeah. And how many people did you do this with?
We were 4 people. So me and 3 others.
Nice. And camping along the way, hostels, hotels. What was the situation?
Camping. We mostly just slept at the side of the road, and we had some tents. And then I think one time somewhere in Romania, we got. Did we get in? Yeah, we went through Sibiu too. Guess we went somewhere here.
Hmm.
And then.
And did you have
Yash.
Did you have like a follow, like a vehicle following you?
No,
with stuff?
no.
Just
We had-
all on
We
your
had everything
backs?
packed.
Wow.
Oh well, on the bikes, right?
Sure. So
It
you
was a
had
good
like
trip.
tents and sleeping bags and food.
Mhm.
Well, food, I guess. Mostly water, because you can find food and water to fill up along the route. But
Yeah, you don't find tents so much.
no,
It's more
I
something
don't
you gotta
think
take.
That's really cool. And then the other one was Graz to Rome. And how did you get back?
We took a train back.
Okay.
We were planning. So this is actually there was a fun plan, which was getting. We were planning because there's this river on the Danube, right, which is like one of the biggest rivers in Europe, and it goes into the Black Sea. There's the delta around here. This area, you see? That's the Danube going into the Black Sea, and it goes up here, and the Danube goes through Budapest and then Vienna this way. But there's a small river called the Mur and the Drava, that goes into the Danube somewhere in Serbia. So it directly connects from here through waterways to
the Black Sea.
The Black Sea.
Oh, that's cool.
And
it flows obviously towards the Black Sea.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. And but there's big boats. So the Danube is quite a big river. So there's boats that go up to Vienna from the Black Sea, so you can go on some sort of a cruise ship or whatever. Or mostly, I guess it's really transportation, but there's also some passenger ships that go. And
so how were you were thinking of doing it? What, with like a kayak?
Well, so here on the bike trip, we were planning to take a boat from Odessa that would go up the Danube and then back to Vienna.
Okay.
But we were like trying for a week on different harbors. I think we also we biked somewhere to Constanza then later to try to get something from here, because that's right closer to where the actual delta is.
Yeah. Maybe get a boat from closer to the delta. Yeah.
Try with that. Yeah. But we ended up not managing, and then we took a train back from here that went through Bucharest.
That's so
But
cool.
yeah, that was the idea. And this is one of my long-term plans, because I grew up in a tiny place here, which is next to that river as well, that connects all the way to the Black Sea. And I kind of want to find maybe kayaks, maybe swimming, maybe a raft or whatever. I had a couple of tries that all were unsuccessful so far, but making my way across those rivers to the Black Sea is something I want to do at some point.
That's so cool. I wonder how long. So does it end in Vienna?
The Danube? No, it goes up from, it's somewhere in Germany. I don't actually know where the Danube starts, but it's already pretty big in Vienna. So it goes Krems an der Donau, Danube. It could go pretty high. It's Linz, then it's at the border, and here we're in Germany already. It should still be Danube. It's a huge river, yeah.
Wow, yeah.
It's here, Ingolstadt. Where are we? We're somewhere. Donauwörth. Still everything Danube.
And this is
getting smaller.
The river's like an underground, like it's fed from like some underground source, or it's like the top of a mountain, glacier fed. Like, how is it?
I think it's mostly mountain, but then there's just a lot of other rivers going into that river, But we're still somewhere here. I don't know. Yeah. Wow. So
what's the length of it? Can you Google how long it is?
Sure.
That would be so crazy to like.
It's a really
take a raft or swimming or something. Imagine swimming across that.
There's like one guy, a Slovenian guy, Martin Starel, who's done a lot of river swimming. I don't know if you heard about him. He did I think he probably did the Danube, but he even did the Amazon or something like that.
Oh wow.
Slovenian long distance swimmer, most elite endurance athletes, best known for swimming the entire length of various rivers, swimming Danube River, Mississippi, Yangtze, and the Amazon. He's a funny guy. He's kind of fat and floats down the rivers and swims.
That's so great.
He drinks a lot of wine while he's
swimming.
Yeah, no, I guess
what
not during.
What a great like way
There's
to
an
just
interesting. I think there's an interesting documentary about him. This is the name. I haven't seen it actually.
Big River Man.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
But he's from somewhere where I'm from.
Oh wait, so hold on. So scroll down a little bit because I think all the river lengths are over here. So the Danube is is that 2,800 kilometers. The okay, Mississippi.
In 58 days, in 2 months, he swam it.
Wow, the Mississippi is longer than that. 3,800.
38.
And the
68 days. Yangtze
Right
is
on
even
that.
longer.
oh wow,
China.
China. Yeah,
1 day before planned.
that's the third longest in the world. What's the longest river? Is that the Amazon?
Amazon.
The Amazon is the longest river.
Yeah.
Third. Wow, 52.
5,200 kilometers.
Wow.
Longer than the width of the Atlantic Ocean. yeah, I've heard about that. He had escort boats.
Fishing. Yeah. Yeah, that one's scary. I don't think I would want to do that. Go swimming in the Amazon River.
No, I don't. That doesn't
It's a
sound
hard
like fun.
pass. I have a friend who like was on a boat in the Amazon. There was like anacondas and piranhas and all of that, and I'm just a hard pass on all of that.
You know, one of the nice things about this corner of Europe that I'm from is that like everything is pretty tame, and you know, like there's nothing in these rivers that could actually be dangerous to you, aside from some weird like random you know, like things that suck you down maybe, but otherwise you should really be fine. There's like no animals.
What do you mean things that
Same
suck you down?
as in the sea.
Like folklore of
Eddies.
animals? Oh, eddies. Okay.
Like dragons.
Like, yeah, there's like a dragon when you pass through, like, I don't know, somewhere over there. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, you know this, like, so I did a swimming trip at some point down here a couple of years ago, where I went from, this is Istria, which is a really nice Mediterranean Sea, and I swam from here down to the west, west of this, just in the sea, and it's like super nice.
Nice.
There's no huge waves, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, very calm. It's Mediterranean Sea, pretty places everywhere along
Nice.
the way.
Very cool.
Super beautiful. This is like an interesting. It's like a fjord,
Mhm.
but a warm fjord. So it's like very steep walls on the side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks
Anyways,
pretty in the satellite
Pretty
image.
places. Yeah. Satellite. Where did you see the satellite? image?
Bottom left.
Ah, look at you. Anyways,
What a way to end 2020. Talking about traveling that we can't really do. Oh, man.
yeah. All right, go away with that.
Get out of here.
Get out of here. All right, whatever. Fun ideas.
Yeah. Oh, man. I really hope like in 2021 we can, you know, at least in the summertime. Because like this year in the summertime, we were able to travel a little bit, you know, like as long as you're kind of, you know, safe and, you know, masks, wash your hands, don't touch your face type thing, take all the precautions, quarantine in like the new spot. And I mean, we drove down to Tennessee and like spoke to nobody, just stayed in the car the entire time, you know, went climbing and then came back.
Sounds responsible.
It was more, and then when we got back, we quarantined, but I think it was more, it felt more dangerous being down there COVID wise than here, because it was like like here, maybe out of 100, one will not wear a mask, but down there, it was like more than half would not be wearing masks. When
In
they're
summer,
out, yeah, when they're out like in the public and just walking around, you know, and some people are like coughing up lungs in the gas station, and you're like, dude, like, why aren't you not wearing a mask? But you know, whatever, freedom. right? That's the argument. Anyway, so this looks like a pretty solid lineup for 2021. Excited to work on this stuff.
It's all clearly related to a stream.
Sort of.
Very clearly.
Well, anyway, besides the point. You know, look, if we're surprised by the middle and end of 2021 and this doesn't turn like COVID's not really a risk as much anymore, then, you know, I would love to do all these travel plans, actually execute on the plans. But if not, whatever, we'll do it in like 2023
Probably
would be like an excellent travel year.
Yeah, we just do more Kumiko in the meantime.
Yeah.
Kumiko and Apache Spark. Why not?
That's it.
Gotta
Just
take what
we'll become
life dishes you.
Kumiko and Spark experts. That's it. And travel planning experts. We'll
Interesting
plan
combination.
all of these trips. We'll store all of the trips in a database somewhere, and then we'll just start executing them.
And build little Kumiko somethings.
Look, in the
about
next
it.
2 years, we're gonna make so many Kumiko things that we're just gonna leave them. That could be our calling card in places. You know.
Mm-hmm.
There's over 200 patterns. We've got plenty of time to master all of them.
Nice.
Oh man. Anyway.
All right. Let's wrap it up, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, this was nice, little nice chat. Just chatting.
Just chatting.
Yeah, just chatting.
As
2021
promised.
going into 2020.1. The new version of 2020.
All right. I'm not gonna be this demotivating.
Yeah. There you go.
Let's pretend
Nice.
it's something else.
Nice. All right, cool. Well, enjoy the waltz at midnight.
Thank you.
I will not waltz, but maybe.
Oh, you should. Give it a
why
try.
not? Why not? I'll put
It's
up
a good
the
way
waltz.
to start a year.
Sure. All right, cool. So then the next stream is gonna be Monday.
I think we're back
We're
on.
back on Fast AI course. We
Back
gotta
on
finish
track.
that up. No more turkey
Fast.
classifications. You gotta stay focused. Plan
We'll
a
see.
data set. Oh man. All right. Well, this is gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun year. I'm excited for 2021, streaming wise.
Yeah, me too.
Because I feel like we've been pretty consistent, and whether or not we stayed on topic most of the time is a different story. But, you know, streaming wise, we stay pretty consistent. And who knows what'll happen, but I'm excited.
Yeah, same. All right.
Happy
Bye-bye.
New Year. Happy New Year,
Happy New
everybody.
Year. You're right. That's what you're supposed to say at the end of something like that.
Yeah.
Happy year.
Well, Happy New Year,
Happy New
everybody.
Year.
Happy New Year, Martin. Happy New Year, Sadie. Enjoy your waltz.
Happy New Year.
Congratulations
Thank
again. And
Thank you.
see you guys Monday. See you in the new year.
See you next year. The old joke.
That old joke. All right. See you guys later.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.